DICE just dropped some tasty info on the next Battlefield game. Hey there everyone, I am DoodleMan149 and welcome to the channel. In case you didn't hear, last week DICE announced the launch of Battlefield Labs, a private testing space for the next Battlefield game that will use actual players that get invited. I'll go over the announcement video, giving you my 2 cents on it, then letting you know how to sign up for the labs. Let's hop into this. Oh, holy shit, let me turn my mic down.
You and your squad going together, trying to accomplish something.
Helicopter crashes into the building next to you, and all of a sudden the roof drops on your head.
The vehicle play is the destruction.
You've got tanks, you've got jets.
You get a bit sweaty in your palms.
So everything we've already had.
Military experience. It's just unlike any other game I've played.
Did you talk about Battlefield in general?
This franchise comes with a long history, spanning over 20 years now. But the question is, how do we continue to build on that and push Battlefield to the next level?
I've been
Worrying.
playing Battlefield since long before I joined the team. When 1942 first came out, the amount of fun that we all sat down and had with it is just, still.
Oh, that's Vince Zampella. I remember him from some Twitter stuff.
So in joining the Battlefield team, it was about the opportunity to give that team that space to do something just more amazing even than they've done in the past.
We set out with this ambitious idea of creating this new Battlefield universe. And to make that vision a reality, we had to think big.
Each of our 4 studios comes with its own culture and expertise into what we call Battlefield Studios.
It wasn't Battlefield Universe the thing they were talking about where it's going to be a whole bunch of games all under one umbrella?
With emerging talent.
DICE has such a rich history with Battlefield. We've been working on it for years and years. But we also want to do something bigger and better than we've ever done before. And you can't do that with one studio.
DICE is responsible for the multiplayer part of the game, which incorporates things like destruction systems, class play, squad play.
Yeah, let's hope the destruction's better this time around. It fucking sucked in 2042.
So here at Motive, we're working on multiplayer maps, and we're also working on single-player mission content.
Okay, let's hope the maps aren't walking sims.
To the level that's never been done on Battlefield before.
Ripple Effects has a long history of working on the Battlefield franchise.
We're working on an experience that is really going to open Battlefield up to a whole group of new players, but really still exciting that core audience that has made this franchise so successful.
Criterion have been supporting Battlefield for a decade now, and now we're going to bring that to the table as a fully fledged kind of partner in the Battlefield studios.
Mainly we've been focused on the single player experience.
I am glad to hear there's a single player campaign. Like, they actually have companies like dedicated to it, which is great.
We have never before had this many teams and talents dedicated to the development of Battlefield. And we have a plan to create a new, exciting future for the franchise, alongside our players.
This game has so much potential, so I think it's about giving the team this time to really hone their craft.
Vince, not only does it have potential, it needs to be good, otherwise this franchise is fucked.
Over and over and over again. We have to find gameplay that really resonates with the players and then build on that.
Battlefield Labs is our new development initiative where players will get to test specific focus areas in the game.
See, my worry about this labs thing, it's all keyboard and mouse. I'm never going to be able to do this.
We're doing it before we launch the game, and we're doing it with so much more content.
It's an exciting way for us to interact with our audience before things go live and make sure that what we have is really fun and polished.
And we have to test everything, combat to destruction to maps and modes.
We're going to test all the new features that we're putting out, and we're going to test hardware like weapons, vehicles, and gadgets.
We can try different things, but also validate what players are expecting from Battlefield.
That feedback
Thank goodness, like classes, destruction, normal Battlefield stuff.
And what feels like a true Battlefield experience.
We're pre-alpha, so now is the time to test all the experiences our teams have been building for our upcoming launch and beyond.
Join our Discord.
Pre-alpha
where
is
you
going to
can
be
learn
rough.
more about our new closed testing environment. We call it Battlefield Labs. Let's build Battlefield together.
It looks pretty solid. I'm not seeing any heroes, thank God. Okay. Promising. Some buzzwords in there, a little worrisome. If you want to sign up for Battlefield Labs, the best way to do that is simply Google Battlefield Labs and click on the link from DICE. From here, simply sign into the website with whatever method you used for your EA account, and you'll be entered into a massive queue. Be careful here, the wait times are astronomical, and once your spot in line becomes available, you have 15 minutes to enter the site to sign up. So, if you're a working class person who isn't terminally online, this is going to be rough to try and time this. This could lead to possibly the worst people getting in, but we'll have to see. Now, before we end, let me throw out some predictions out there based on what we saw and heard. I'm cautious about this. As we saw with 2042, DICE is perfectly capable of creating trailers, and what is this if not a trailer for a test environment? They can say all they want about the game and the feedback they're looking to get, but those of us who likely won't get into Battlefield Labs, we're going to have to see some actual gameplay before we make any hard predictions on the game. Sure, there's pre-alpha footage in here, but that could always change. I'm more worried about the soundbite lines that they seem to be throwing out there again. They're looking for a whole new audience while also catering to us old fans. I understand the mentality behind that, I do, but that's what 2042 was, and look at that shit show. Lastly, again going back up to the sign-up, given how difficult and unforgiving it'll be to get into Apply, I cannot imagine the average Joe is going to get into this thing. The people who are the streamers and the terminally online basement dwellers. This means that we either get the worst advice ever, or advice that only applies to people who play the game 48 hours a day. So it has the potential to be terribly balanced with features no one wants, but that's just my pessimistic head. After 2042, I do not have high hopes for anything until we get our hands on a beta. That being said, they do seem to be following through on getting community feedback, and I'm glad to see that it's here from the start. But, given the timing of this, there is no way we're getting this game this year. And so that's all there is for this news day. I am cautiously optimistic about this whole Battlefield Labs deal. While I participated in the Battlefield 1 CTE, or Community Test Environment, I don't recall there being one for 2042. It's important to involve the actual players in the development and balancing of the game, and I'm liking that it's being done from the ground up. However, that being said, what we get could heavily rely on the quality of the playtesters. If you get a bunch of COD players in there, they're going to give advice on how to make the game more like COD, same with Apex or other shooters. Gotta keep the real Battlefield community in mind and not just invite people who will give the launch some hype before jumping off the game entirely. And, for the love of God, don't invite some of the Battlefield streamers who are just pieces of shit. You know who they are. So with that, I'd like to thank you guys for watching. Dropping a like on this video will help the algorithm send this to others, and subscribing is a great way to keep up to date on when I post. Thanks to everyone who supports me either through Patreon or merch sales, or just by watching the stuff I make. It makes it all worth it. Speaking of Patreon patrons and YouTube members, I'd like to thank mine real quick. Oh, right. Well, if you want to be the first to support me on Patreon, you know right where your name will pop up. I'm a little one-man army running this channel, so any support will go a long way to keeping the gears greased. Even if you don't, thanks for making it this far. If you have, drop a comment including the word optimism in it, and I'll know you watched the whole thing. I've been your host, Doodleman149, and until next time, we'll see each other again, sometime, somewhere, on the battlefield.